What do you think the future will look like? High tech? Perhaps workplaces of entirely new industries operating in virtual worlds of augmented reality? Perhaps the clean and renewable future, one in which we have resolved the climate and energy crisis. Maybe it involves exploration of other worlds and new frontiers and new planets. The fact is, we don't know. We can guess and predict, but we don't know. And so an obvious question for anyone who works in education is, how do we prepare people for a future when we don't know what lies ahead? This is the right question to ask, and for this, at least, there are some answers. Let's unpack this. This is ASU. A commonly agreed upon goal of education is to prepare young people for the future. The challenge, of course, is that the future is uncertain. And if we spend even a small amount of time seriously thinking about the future, we quickly recognize that there's not one future, but multiple futures, some of which are more uncertain than others. As educators, we often focus on likely futures at the expense of more uncertain and possible futures. Specifically, we focus on teaching students to understand and do things that are already known and doable. And when we plan lessons based on this focus, we predetermine almost every aspect of the lesson in advance: the problem, the process, the product, and the criteria for success. We then present students with routine tasks and problems and teach them the most efficient processes and procedures for arriving at those solutions. Student success is then determined by how well they can arrive at expected outcomes in expected ways. Again, this approach makes sense and may even be optimal when we're preparing young people for likely futures, because we're helping them learn how to understand and do something that's already known and doable, and likely will be needed in the foreseeable future. However, this approach falls short if we're also interested in preparing students for possible futures that require them to have the confidence and competence to come up with new ways of thinking and acting under states of uncertainty. This is not to say that learning how to do routine problems in routine ways plays no role in navigating uncertainty, but rather, preparing students for a broader horizon of possible futures requires us to provide them with opportunities to engage with uncertainty in an otherwise structured and supportive learning environment. My concept of lesson unplanning provides a way to do so by transforming over-planned and predetermined lessons into lessons that have to-be-determined openings for students to engage with uncertainty and work with skilled others in and outside of the classroom. In this way, they can identify their own problems to solve, find their own ways of solving them, and produce their own products and solutions. Even minor modifications to existing lessons can open up broader possibilities. Consider, for instance, teaching students how to solve a particular type of problem using a specific procedure. Instead of simply assigning 10 problems to be solved using that one procedure, what if we also asked students to come up with as many different ways that they could solve the problem? Wouldn't you agree that there's some value in solving multiple practice problems using one taught way and learning how to come up with multiple solutions to one problem? Or even allowing students to come up with their own problems to solve using the taught procedure? When we use lesson unplanning to create openings in the tasks, procedures, products, it can benefit the learning of everyone involved, including the teacher. If, for instance, a group of students generates a dozen or more solutions to a problem, then a student who was able to come up with 3 ways to solve a problem has learned 9 additional ways. Even a teacher who knew 10 different ways would learn 2 additional ways. Don't we owe it to current and future generations of young people to have an educational experience that helps prepare them both for likely and possible futures? If the answer is yes, then lesson unplanning can help. by providing students with experiences that can develop their confidence and competence, engaging with and working through uncertainty now and into the future. So, maybe we don't need to know exactly what the future looks like to prepare young people for it. Perhaps instead, we just need to focus on the right ways to think and teach. By embracing uncertainty and allowing this to help define our approach, we can support young people in developing the skills they need to adapt, to communicate, collaborate, to think and rethink. In this way, they can be ready, whatever the future holds. This was ASU. Thanks for watching.